ここからは日本語になります。太田社長に、
From here on, we are going to use the Japanese language. Mr. Ohta was just introduced.
社長に就任すると同時に、かつて銀行と呼ばれていた
he is assigned to this current position, and with the catchphrases, he is involved in internal revolution innovation. With the catchphrases that we were used to call as a bank. But at the outset, I have a question to you all, audience. With a smartphone, I'd like you to answer the questions on the screen. That will be the question is, what is your image towards Japanese bank? The options is the faithful, diligent, stable, bureaucratic, and inflexible, and slow. Sorry. So out of these 4 options, and Mr. Ohta would not know who selected which. And in the back, we'd like to have more opinion about faithful and diligent. Well, somehow, so half of the respondents say that the images about Japanese bank is bureaucratic, inflexible, and slow. And we have 11% of opinion. It says faithful and diligent. How's your reaction to that? Well, it's within my expectation. Yes. The speed of the innovation and revolution should be accelerated, and I renew my commitment toward that. After this, we have 100,000 employees worldwide. It's like a gigantic tanker we're operating, sort of. So we have to change our mindset quickly. So responding to these answers, and I have to renew my commitment, and I have to accelerate this kind of speed of innovations. Now, and you President, Mr. President, you have a catchy phrase that is we were used to call a bank. So that starts and begins the website. It starts with this catchphrase because of the image of operating a gigantic tanker. Well, the basic functions of the banks or the financial organization will remain, like we store, relocate, and move out the assets, or to fill out a timeline between economy and society. And this is required, and that role will remain. However, who and what will play the role, that will change over time. Well, the role was not fulfilled by the sort of bankers. We don't have to stick to the banking industry. Maybe we have to change our roles. So we don't have to be a bank. So we like to play the role as we required. So we like to look at the chart. It's a long span. It's the kind of a graph and a correlation between a Japanese economy and banks. After the Tokyo Olympic, and in 1990s, the bubble economy, it's peaked out, and GDP is behind. But it's peaked after bubble economy, and I like to show you another one. That is made by Bloomberg. After 2006, and this is about the recurring profit and real GDP. But we have some difference, but we have the correlationship between them. And how do you see this economic situation and the performance? Can you go back a little bit? This is the previous Tokyo Olympic Games. It was conducted in 1964. At that time, it was within Japan. We borrow money from the World Bank to build infrastructure like highways or the Shinkansen or bullet train. So Japan was the developing country at the time, compared from the in terms of IMF. And then we have the rapid growth curve, And the latter half of the 1980s, there's a burst of bubble economy. We have some growth in the GDP. Out of this 25 years, the Japanese economy showed a J curve. But if you look at the profit out of the balance of deposit, our trend is in line with the economic growth in Japan. So it's in line with Japanese GDP. So if you look at the potential growth of the Japanese economy now is less than 1%. So it doesn't make any sense that only bank will see the rapid growth. So we have to be aware that we are in that situation. And on top of the GDP, we have an aging population and also fintech emergence. The fintech. Is it an opportunity at this point in time, or is it going to be a threat to you? As I said earlier, not limited to fintech, it's an unbundling situations. So the outsider of the finance industry will play the role of finance in the future. That is possible. But we have the basic infrastructural platform like today's banking system, and we have the trust that have accumulated over years. So for us, but we can take advantage of platform capability, how we can collaborate with the newcomers to build a new business. So I regard it as opportunities so that we can have brand new services to customers. That will be an opportunity rather than threat. So we have to take quickly actions. In terms of timing, we're expecting to have the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. We have seen a lot of investment going on, but we plus the aging population at the same time, and amid such circumstances, you see many opportunities ahead. However, after 2020, how do you see the banking industry after this? Well, in the midterm and long term, we have the three areas that we have to have the sense of urgency. They are correlated. One is the information will become an industry. If you look at the balance sheet of banks, but there are most important assets that are not in the balance sheet is the information and data. So how can we monetize this invisible asset of information and data into this? That is important. And the second one is everything will become a platform, like a customer base or the banking infrastructure. All the stakeholders should be on the same platform. How we can do that? Now we're working on the corporate platform, making a corporate platform. Well, banks are doing a business matching the needs of the customers and other users. It was like we're doing it on a manual basis. Now we like to put it on a website so that the customers themselves can search. And also cashless is another trend. And the third one is that how can we provide the solution to the customers, and how many solutions can we provide? That will be the showdown for us. So we have to speed up all these innovations and initiatives. In aging population, what is your focus? And what are the major changes do you see? In finance industry, will not play the role of aging population. They look at all the investment trust for the senior citizens or the service dedicated to the senior citizen. But that doesn't work. There are a lot of concerns ahead, like nursing care or the illness or the drugs or how to inherit the assets and also family relations. We have to build a platform for consulting to solve all these problems. Even though you make a single need-oriented, asset or service, it doesn't work. So the idea comes from not only for the financial sectors, how we can play the role from the sense of urgency, and we have to collaborate with other industry if we don't have any ideas. So you are now building mechanisms to generate ideas, and I'd like to show you some pictures. Can you show them up? Here, I like to show you 5 pictures at the end of the summer. It's the ticket gate, like in the Shinjuku station. Actually, it's in front of the gate. Actually, your employee will work and commute. So it's horrible. These are in front of your building. So I like to say you have to change your mindset rather than changing the dress code. So we change the dress code. So by doing this, if you have this kind of a dress or is dressed like this, you can speed up the actions, or you can come up with a good idea, innovative idea. That will be good. However, well, if you see the pictures, I was shocked a little bit.
実際に服装が
In reality, as employees are dressed differently, do you see a change in the workforce starting to come up with new ideas? Not just the change in the clothes. We repeatedly, I tell them to change their mindset. So I see some change. We often hear this word, the president saying the word of manufacturing. What do you mean by that? We want to create a new business. As we do that, we invest. We set up new small companies. We've set up 8 companies already. The presidents, people who want to become the presidents of those small companies, I'm encouraging people to apply for that. So we now solicit internal employees to raise their hands to become president of those small companies. Do you see a lot of hands rising? Yes, I do. More recently, Senichi Cloud Line, we decided to turn the contract completely web-based. That's the company. A 37-year-old young people started the company with a joint venture. He was involved in building the company. So he was an establishing member, and he became the president of the company. It was a drastic decision, wasn't it? Yes, that's how much I want to change the company, and I want to see more of my people to do the same. So toward the next midterm plan, you are going to make the next medium business plan, and which fields do you want to see people planting seeds for the future? Innovation, digitalization, those are not things that particular people can do. It's about how to transform existing business into a new way, because you need to have such technology to do that. So we need to improve the existing levels of people with. If we do that, we can improve the unit price of 100,000 workforce. That can be a big change. At the same time as you assume the responsibility as the president, as you seem to be smiling, but you're at the same time applying a little pressure. So your message is break out of our shell. How much do you see that's happening in your workforce? It's taking root within the company. That said, presidents will be criticized if they try new things and fail. So change can be painful to other people. That's why it's difficult to cause a change. So you need to show how serious you are if you want to see a change. And that's why I'm here today, to cause a change by myself and show the model. Here's my message to you. To the employees who are watching this, please understand that I'm very serious. I think your message got across. Let me ask you again. Looking outside of Japan, one of the strengths that your company has is not just within Japan, but outside. You've expanded your business. As of the end of May 2019, 30% of your business is overseas. So how do you want to see the change and want to increase the overseas business in the future? In terms of the group base, it's now 30%, but in terms of banking business, it's already 50%. The goal, instead of just increasing overseas revenues, our goal is, because bank is GDP business, so in the future, the ratio, if we don't do anything, will naturally grow. So existing business of ours shall grow globally. Our business should not just stay locally. We want to globalize it. On top of that, as the GDP grows in other countries, the second or third SMBC shall be born. So as long as banks are GDP-based business, banks need to grow together with the growth of GDP. Otherwise, the entire groups cannot grow. So we will definitely be the growth engine. So GDP 5%. Full-line banking institutions were born. What is your outlook for that country? In the region, becoming a local bank in the local region, localization is necessary and important, and never run away, whatever happens. As a Japanese company, as the graph indicated, we used to grow rapidly because Japan used to be the mother market. There was no place that we could run away. We went through some crisis moment, but we followed through. And that's why we were able to enjoy the fruits of our endeavor. But if we run away when things turn for the worse, you cannot enjoy the benefits. So in India, with such a high growth rate, you need to stay locally and offer services for local people. You may be able to create other services, not just banking. So in the future, it was Indonesia. So in the future, we want to make our entire financial group in Indonesia. So we hear about Donald Trump's remarks. So what is your outlook for the future? For the short term, we will see more uncertainties. But for the mid to long-term perspectives, things that have a potential to grow will grow. And of course, in the immediate future, we need to make sure to run our business safely. But for the long span, we need to have forward-looking perspective to run our business. I have more questions, but unfortunately we ran out of time. We are in a critical moment, but you have been very successful, and I hope for the further success. Thank you very much.